afternoon, Vallejo. I am so happy to be here today. This is Black History Month, February and Black History Month, and I have as my guest Mr. Edison Kelly, who is coordinator of school support and management for the Vallejo Unified School District. Mr. Kelly and I have been friends and have known each other for a number of years. I want to thank you, first of all, for agreeing to be my guest. I really appreciate that. So it sounds very, very big, a coordinator of school support and management. Tell me what that means in real English. What is that? What do you do?
Well, I mean, in a nutshell, for the most part, I just support schools. You know, usually there are schools that may go through some issues that need some additional support, or there may be schools that just need me to go and maybe speak to students or support parents, support principals.
Support the principals, huh? You were a principal at
Well, John Finney High School.
At John Finney High School, yeah. That's why I was confused when they told me you had moved. I had went, had went, you know, I pop into your schools all the time, wherever you are.
Right.
You and I worked together at Vallejo Senior High
That's
School
right.
for, what, almost 3 years?
About 3 years.
About 3 years, yes. And you were so effective. You know, I was working as a school site chair. You helped me learn a lot in my new position. I appreciate that. One of the things that I always appreciated about you was your ability to really know where the kids are coming from. I think you're a perfect person for this particular job because you really know how to communicate with our young people. And let's talk a little bit about how'd you learn to do that? Or you just did it because you're young? Or
Well, I appreciate being called young. But, I think, you know, I grew up in Vallejo. You know, I grew up in Vallejo, went to school here in Vallejo, and graduated in Vallejo. So, you know, you tend to know a lot of the parents of the students.
Yes.
And you build relationships with them. And I think that's probably the key to it, is just relationships.
I think so too, you know, knowing somebody, because I know your mom.
That's right.
I just had the pleasure of listening to her. The Vallejo Jazz Society had her at the Empress Theater a couple of weeks ago, and I went there and again thought of the idea, ooh, Black History Month, let me call Edison. And I called you that night and asked you if you would mind being a guest on our Voices. You have strong family connections here in town. Let's talk a little bit about your background. I know you were born here, you were raised here. Your grandfather and grandparents are very active. Let's talk a little bit about your grandfather, who was Bill Thurston.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, my grandfather, you know, he was a college professor at Solano Community College, very active in politics. You know,
Yes, he was.
Yeah, state, nationally. My mother, you know, as you know, she sings, been singing all over the world.
All over the world.
And you know, I have, you know, my wife and my sisters. You know, I have great, you know, my uncles, my cousin played professional baseball. So you know, strong. You know, I mean that's bragging, but also just they've all had impact in Vallejo.
Well, I don't think it's bragging. I think it's simply stating some facts, you know, and those are the facts. You know, we have our current. I think Rosemary Thurston is the current Solano County
trustee.
Trustee.
That's my grandmother.
Right, that's your grandmother, and so you know, it's very active in the family, and that's a good thing, you know.
You know, that was pretty much instilled in us, you know, growing up.
As young people coming up, yeah, to just, you know, to give back to your community. You and I were talking a little bit earlier, and I remember when, you know, I was younger, my kids were younger, I really didn't have the opportunity to give back to Vallejo. But I've made up for it, I think, with a vengeance.
Moreover.
You and I worked on a project with the Continental Omega Boys and Girls Club. We worked on a number of projects, but one that really stands out is that park. The Kaboom built that park. And we had a one-day bill with, what, about over 400 people?
Yeah, it was great.
Wasn't that a wonderful day?
Yeah, you know, but you know, what I appreciated was the work before then.
Well,
you know, you, my wife, and others were really behind it, putting a lot of work into
We
it.
put a lot of effort in. You know, it took almost 3 years for us to get that grant.
I remember.
You know,
I do.
every time we would write it, you know, they
Mm-hmm.
would, you know, they turn us down, and then they actually had come to Vallejo and built a park by Children's Wonderland.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, the next time they turned us down, they said, well, hey, we've already been to Vallejo, you know? And I was like, oh, no, but you didn't come out to the Boys and Girls Club. And so, you know, we persevered. You know, it's that whole thing about never giving up just
Yeah.
because somebody says no that time.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
you know, you could go back and ask again. And so we did, and it was an absolutely wonderful day. The community really participated, and I know every time I live out in that area, and every time I drive past there and I see children playing happily in that park, it makes me feel
I know.
so good.
Me too. Me too.
You know, you see them, you know, and you see the improvements that have been made through the help of you know, other organizations, and you know, Recology, and I think and some other organizations that really help out the Boys and Girls Club, which is a wonderful organization. My
great
sons grew up in it. You did. Your kids did.
That's true.
You know, and when we were talking about young people, that to me is the key that helps young people to prosper, is that they have something to do. And you know, when you can talk a little bit about maybe how the school district is coming up with maybe some new programs, maybe some new things that can help.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been very progressive in, you know, in our approach to building climate and culture, supporting academia. You know, we're trying to get our students to globally compete.
Yes.
You know, we want them, you know, as you see, we have the academies in different schools, the STEM projects, and you know, right now, the last 3 years, we've grown, and we are nationally known now as a district. You know, you pretty much can read about us now. We're doing very well with our strides with working with our young people.
With the academies. I remember, I think that there was an opening over on Mare Island for the Assemblywoman Lois Wolk and Assemblyman Mike Thomas, I believe it was. Thompson, that's his name. And the young people from the hospitality academy from Vallejo Senior High School put that on. And I mean, they did a fabulous job. I was really impressed with how well everything was laid out, and you know, how attentive they were in terms of, you know, taking care of the guests. You know, everybody is not college material, but everybody has something to contribute.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I wish more of that was talked about. You know, our students are doing real well, and they're actually doing things that professionals are doing.
Yes.
You know, and I wish they were recognized more, you know, for a lot of the accomplishments that they're doing right now here in Vallejo.
Yes.
You know, I like, you know, I guess from time to time we get a rep here in Vallejo.
We
get a rep, but people don't really see that, you know, we have students. I mean, like, for example, this show, I know that, you know, prior to the show, there's students working in the studio right now on academies and doing a lot of, you know, a lot great things.
As a matter of fact, the students helped to produce my show last month, and it's wonderful to me when I see them, you know, around the campus or something, and they say, "Well, hi, Miss Dickson," and I smile at them, and I'm just so happy, and I'm proud of them because, you know, that's a way for them to reach out. That's a way for them to learn some new things. The new climate at the Vallejo Unified School District, I'm going to attribute that to Dr. Ramona Bishop.
I would too. I would too. I mean, she came in trailblazing. I mean, you know, she came in and just started putting work with us.
And she seemed to have an idea and a mannerism that, you know, everybody's included. It's all inclusive. Let's all work together. Everybody's a stakeholder. The parents, the community, the business community. You know, everybody has a stake in us helping these children to be successful.
Absolutely. You know, she has a genuine respect and love for people. You know, that's one thing that I appreciate about Dr. Bishop, and I think that it shows in all her work.
Yes.
You know, with the community and with the students.
Oh yes, oh yes. She's so available too. She's very much available. She was at the basketball game the other night, and you know, she was sitting up there. She was had her laptop. She's busily working, but you know, I thought how wonderful. As much as this lady has to do, that she could take time out of her schedule and come to a high school basketball game. You know, for the superintendent of schools to do that, I think that's pretty big.
It's huge.
I
It's
think
very
that's pretty
huge.
big because that says that not only do I have faith in your ability to do better and to be better, I'm there to support you and I'm
That's
there to
right.
watch you.
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, my daughters see her, they run up to her and hug her. You
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, she's full of hugs. Yeah, she's absolutely a wonderful person, and I appreciate having made her acquaintance. Now, as coordinator of school support and management, you say you go around and you know a principal they may have a problem at one school. And they will call you. You know, you go. Do you sit down? You guys talk about a plan. How do you go about that?
Well, it depends. I mean, it varies. A lot of times I may deal with SARBs, which is Student Attendance Review Board.
Students Attendance Review Board. That's
Yeah.
SARS. Okay.
SARB. And what we do is through that, we're able to meet with students individually and find out why they're not coming to school. And then put together plans to work with the family, you know. And in those meetings, I have people at the table, like people from the Boys and Girls Club,
Okay.
and Fine Back Partnership, and other organizations to help find out what's going on with this particular student. What can we do to touch you to help you to get to school?
To help them get.
And so that's one aspect of support that we give to the schools. Also, you know, at times I may go to campuses just to visit and check in classrooms and. You know, and if a principal needs some support, they'll let me know what support they need, and I'll provide it for them.
Sometimes principals don't really know what support that they need, though. You know, how is that particular problem addressed? They may think that everything is okay.
Well, it helps that I'm a former principal.
Okay.
You know, being a former principal and also a former teacher and all that, you know, I kind of have an eye for schools and an eye for, you know, things I see.
Yes,
you know?
I know you do. I remember, well, my granddaughter, when you were at Solano Junior High School.
Whoa, yeah.
Yes, you remember. Yeah, I remember that meeting.
That was so funny. But you know what? That meeting taught me a lot. That meeting I had with you taught me a whole lot. You know, I remember you were sitting at the table. No, you're sitting in an office.
Yes.
And I'm just rushing through my day, and I said, okay, come on. You looked at me and said, no, you don't beckon me. I said, oh my.
Right.
So from that moment on, every single time a parent or anybody comes into the office,
Right.
I always make it a point to just, you know, either escort,
stop.
I stop, I greet them, I say hi to them, let them know that they welcome, you know. But you know, you taught me something that day.
No, I could get kind of stubborn sometimes.
Hey, but I learned. I was a new administrator.
Yeah,
I
you
learned.
were. And, you know, I'm a former a student at Solano Middle School. My dad was actually a janitor there. I was one of the first class there in 1963.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, but yeah, I forgot about that. But I was just thinking about Chanel and how we had that meeting and how firm that I was with her. And, you know, you brought the teacher in and we sit down there and we worked that problem out. And, you know, I appreciated you. I knew you before that, but I really appreciated the fact that you could hear what I, as a parent, am trying to say. And I have this kid over here, and I know this kid is not perfect. This kid's got some issues, you know, but it wasn't all just this kid's, you know, he's got the issues. Let's work this out. Let's put the trouble on the table and let's work it out. And that's one of your real strong suits.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That you do. So, and in terms of the Vallejo Senior High School and the mascot, and that issue has now, I understand, been put to rest in terms of them coming up with a new name.
I believe so.
You kind of on the outsides of that.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm of course an alumni of Vallejo High School, you know, but I understand, you know, a group of people, you know, if something's being said or done that offends a group of people, then we should, as a community, support that.
We should support, and that was my feeling exactly. I'm also an alumni. My husband is, my children are, and I had the privilege of sitting in on a meeting and making the final vote of the final tally.
Oh, okay.
And you know, it was, and listening to the different opinions, the Native people and other people, listening to those opinions, that meant a lot. And to me, being alumni, it was better to just say, you know what, if that is offensive to you, if that is hurtful to you, I don't really need that.
Right, and that's kind of the position I took with it too. I've grown up with Mr. Del Campo and some of the others that were strong
Very strong.
in that opinion, and so it was more personal with me too, because I've known them when I've known them when I was young.
When you were a young kid, exactly, and and that was the wonderful thing about Vallejo. Just has this wonderful reputation of huge diversity.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm 60 plus, I don't mind saying, and I can say I don't really, I don't have bad memories. I have a few, but I don't have a lot of bad memories about, the difficulties that a lot of other cities and towns went through.
That's true. I mean, I share the same feeling. I grew up with. Well, we never even thought of it,
We really didn't. We had everybody.
Yeah, we just all got along with each other.
Everybody was in our neighborhood. We, you name it, ethnicity, and they were in our neighborhood, and we all just, we played, we grew up, we hung out, we did things together. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Vallejo. My grandson bought me some information. He actually texted me a couple of weeks ago about some information, and I just want to bring this out. I haven't fact-checked it yet, but it talks about the progress black males have made in the past 12 years. And where this came from was whatblackmenthink.com, and we'll put that up on the board. But in terms of black men refusing to be defined by stereotypes, these rates were just fantastic to me. I'm just quickly going to go through high school diplomas. In 2000, it was 76.6%. In 2012, it's 82.9%. That's a plus 8.22%. The dropout rate has declined from a high of 15% to, in 2012, 8.3%. The college enrollment rate has went up from a low of 5.2 to a high of 7.0. This incarceration rate, which we all know what that is, just totally out of control. 18 to 24-year-olds. In 2000, it was 8.3. In 2012, 6.0. So what we're having here, we're seeing college degrees. There's an increase of 23.46%. Now that says a lot. Now, we know that there's lots and lots of trouble out there in this world. We know that.
That's true, yeah.
But we also know that there's some good. And I want to thank my grandson for sending me this information. You talked to him, he's going to Napa Valley College right now, and they're attempting to start up a black student union up there. And he is just, and I'm just saying this because there are a number of young men that are out there that are just like him, that are striving, that are trying to move forward, that are trying to do the right thing, and we want to be there to support them in the school. We want to help them, we want to support them, and I believe your position is just tailor-made for that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've worked with the Boys and Girls Club. We've worked in the Keystone Leadership Program. A lot of young men I've seen go through that program and graduate from high school, go on to colleges and do well. I know as a young man that I worked with at Keystone right now is finishing his PhD right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean when I think about data, regarding prisons and school and all that. If you really closely look at the data, a lot of that's thrown out there about African American males in prison and all that, if you really look at the data and you look at it closely, you'll find that a lot of that is skewed. That you have more African American males that's in college than what's put out there. And you don't, and this prison statistics and things that's put out there as well is not as accurate as people put out there as
they portray it to be.
Yeah, so it's almost one of those. It's almost one of the you put out something so you can get people to believe something, so it can go a certain way.
Exactly.
But you have to find people like you. That's why I really appreciate this show. You have to find people like you and others that's going to actually push it out there and show that there are young men doing well. They're doing well. I mean, if people say that Vallejo young men don't do well, I graduated from Vallejo High School.
Absolutely.
I'm working on my doctorate right now.
Exactly.
And I can name dozens of others, that I've graduated with, that I've worked with, that are even before me, that are doing well. So I think that we need to look at the facts a little harder. And then also another thing too, it's something that is my philosophy. I don't like looking at numbers all the time. I'm looking at people.
Yeah, look at the people.
Look at people. I mean, I can tell you I can name a bunch of names to you right now that people that I've worked with, a guy that was in Keystone now, I watched him in the Super Bowl play on Sunday.
Yes.
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 See my point? I mean,
yes.
This is a young man that people probably was thinking wasn't going to graduate from high school.
Exactly.
But this young man playing I watched him in the Super Bowl play in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
On last Sunday.
Absolutely.
CJ.
CJ Anderson,
Yeah,
Miss Barbara Gaddis's grandson.
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Barbara. I think she watches my
show.
show.
But it's just an example of how, people really need to not play into the hype of
Yes.
that and start really looking deeper into the data and also looking into people.
And absolutely looking past what maybe a certain segment of society would like for you to see and unlike for you to believe about us. I did a show last February, instead of Black History, I did a show on long-term black marriages because we hear so much about that, okay? And at that show I had 3 people, had the couple here. He'd been married 42 years. She'd been married 46 years. She'd been married 40 years. I'd been married 46 years.
Oh.
And, just in talking about that, Edison, it was, you think about your friends and people around you, and you say, well, I know more people that, Daddy was at home and very definitely the head of the household.
Right.
Than I do otherwise. Not to say that it's not there. Not to say that female-headed households are horrible or wrong or whatever. You do what you need to do to be able to take care of your family.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of women that have done a lot of struggling to raise upright people. And that's all. As a mother, I can say that that's all I would want is for my sons and my grandsons and granddaughters to be upright citizens, to understand that they have a responsibility. You were blessed to be here. You were blessed to have this wonderful life. You need to give something back.
That's right. And I grew up with some of your kids, so I know, that they were upright, young men.
You need to give something back. You have to be able to be grateful for what you have and give some things back. We all have a place here. We don't know how long, and we don't know how we're supposed to do it. But if you just try to think right and to do the right thing. Sometimes it's not always possible, but you could at least give it a good shot. So that was one of my favorite shows last year because just talking about that, you and your beautiful wife, I just, I adore her so much. She is just a fantastic person. At the jazz show when your mother was playing, she was helping your mother. I mean, Lisa's just fantastic. She's just a wonderful, you're very blessed, you're very lucky. I know you know it.
That's why I keep her around me.
Yeah, that's what she says. That's probably why she keeps you around.
Yeah, that's true. I will be the first to admit, it's not easy being married to me.
No.
I will be the first to admit that. My wife, I am blessed. My wife, beautiful wife, beautiful daughters.
Yeah, you have some gorgeous daughters.
And and I'm proud of all of them.
Yes.
And I'm blessed. I can't walk around and complain about my children and say that I'm in a messed up marriage. No, I ain't working on 43 yet, but I'm.
Oh, you get there.
I'm at 23. I'm at 23 now.
23. 20 more years. 46. 46 years this past year.
That's a
So
blessing.
we're and the best part about it is that we still kind of like each other.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Because you could be married for 42 years, but it could be, as Chanel said, Grandma, sometimes those are some hard twos. Sometimes some hard twos. We were were talking about basketball, and when Coach Caputin, they won the state championship, and she didn't have one of her better games. I mean, you know, she's a great basketball player, but she didn't have one of her better games. She said, "Grandma, but I got a hard 6." I got 6.
That's right. That's right. May not have been a lot, but that six was hard.
That was a hard 6. I managed to get that, so we laughed about that. And again, knowing that you can have your family and the support system, and that's what we need to build for those children that don't have it. You know, and your position and Dr. Bishop's position of positive behavior intervention, that's a reinforcement thing. That's not to say, you know, you're bad, get out of school, you know, I'm kicking you out for, you know, 6 days or however long it is. Let's see what we can do to help you.
Right. You know, and that's probably that's one of the blessings of the job that I have right now. I'm able to really just touch a lot of kids, you know, and a lot of people, you know, and support them. And you know, then you start seeing the backstories of the kids.
And then you have even more of a care and a compassion because you know the underlying causes. Well, Edison, I tell you, you are just absolutely one of my favorite people. You know that. I tell you that all the time. And I appreciate you taking this time to come and chat with me and talk about some positive aspects and things that are going on in Vallejo. So I thank you for being my guest on Our Voices today. My name is Debora Dickson, and Our Voices brings you the positive news in the African American community. Anybody that has anything that they'd like to share with the community, please give me a call. My number is on the board. My email address is on the board. I would be happy to share your positive news about Vallejo. There are a couple of people that I know that have a storyline on Facebook called What I Love About Vallejo. And I just find that to be so fascinating. I start reading some of the different things, and it brings back such wonderful memories.
I'll have to read that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, have you been
I haven't.
you haven't been following that? Well, you know, I don't do much on Facebook, but I do poke in every now and then.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's What I Love About Vallejo, and you'll find some old things, you'll find some new things, you'll, you know, I'll talk one show about my father-in-law being the first African-American man to have a Chevron station right out there in the Crest.
Oh, wow.
He ended up selling it to the Banks family, Boston Banks family. So, see, those are stories that, you know, we don't need to take away with us. We need to put out here and to share. And that was done in the, you know, early 60s. So you know what a hard time that was.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so, again, Edison, it's just been my absolute pleasure to sit here and talk about how we both have been able to impact in people's lives in such a positive manner. I mean, it just makes you feel good all over knowing that you've had that type of impact on someone's life and been able to help them do whatever it is that they needed to do. So thank you for coming. And